Shalom everybody, welcome to a new video on the Parashat Shavua. We are going to continue with our learning regarding Parashat Vayishlah, which is the Parashat of this week, with the insights of Rabbi Yosef Haim from Baghdad, Iraq, the great Mekubal, Ben Ish Chai, alav shalom. And today I would like to share a few of the insights of Rabbi Yosef Haim, sending you greetings from Florida, the United States. Last week I was in Madrid, Spain, and today I am in Florida, in America, traveling a lot these days. Baruch Hashem, accomplishing many things. And without further delay, let's look into what Rabbeinu Yosef Haim has to say about the Parashat Shavua, Parashat Vayishlah. He brings a very interesting commentary to the pasuk on Bereshit 32:13, when he says, "Besamti et ezeracha kechol hayam, asher lo yipaser merov." I will make your offspring like the sand of the sea, which is too numerous to count. He basically explains what this expression means. And he says that there are two ways to look at the sand. Sand, or what does it mean? What is the meaning of this beracha that I will make your offspring like the sand? One way to look at sand, Rabbeinu Yosef Haim says, is that sand, unless it's used for construction, people don't even want to touch the sand. Why? To get your hands dirty? And the dirt of the ground, people see it as something low. It's not even worth it to to get your hands to touching the dust or the ground. So no one will really look into it or really touch unless you are really doing construction things. Now, Rabbi Yosef Haim says that's one way to look at it. But the other way, which is the way of the pasuk, is that sand or this type of beracha is in the sense of numerous. The same way that you cannot count every little grain of sand, so too will be the beracha that will be on Yaakov and his offspring. So too, this is the meaning of the beracha that Hashem is giving Yaakov Avinu and his descendants. He says, he's bringing an explanation for the word merov, meaning plenty. He says that is related to what our rabbis of blessed memory said in Masechet Ketubot 43b. An explanation that is coming from Rashi, that it says, Kol Rav mi Bavel vechol Rabbi me'eret Israel. Every Rav is from Babylon, and every Rabbi or Rabbi is coming from the land of Israel. This meant that outside the land of Israel, they can only attain the level of Rav, but in Israel, they can reach a higher level and are called Rabbi or Rabbi by adding the letter Yud. Thus, this is what he says. Thus, in this pasuk, Hashem assure Yaakov Avinu alav shalom that if his offspring uphold his wishes, no nation will rule over them, and they will not be exiled from their land, and they will stay in Israel and will not be counted as Rav, but as Rabbi. And hence the pasuk says, Lo yipaser merov. And the word merov could be viewed as mi Rav, without a vav, to mean that they will not be counted as Rav like those living outside of Eretz Israel. It's very interesting that people sometimes don't know the distinction between people that are called Rav. Sometimes you hear people calling Rabbi or Rabbi. There's a difference. In today, we don't make that distinction, but indeed there's a distinction, because Rabbi Yosef Haim explains what is already known from the Talmud, from Talmudic times. Those that learn in the Jewish academies or the yeshivot in Babylon, Sura, Pomperita, Nahardia, were the great yeshivot in Babylon, they were called Rav. But those that learn in Israel, in the academies of Yavne, Tiberias, they were called Rabbi, or in English, Rabbi. So that's how you know. And the Chamim say that those that attain that level of Rabbi is a higher level than to be called Rav. In fact, I heard one time from a friend that today, even though we call people rabbis, and meaning those who have achieved that type of higher learning and qualifications and are recognized by others as rabbi or rabbi, in reality, in the opinion of some people, everybody should be called today Rav, because no one really has that level to be called Rabbi. But again, this is an opinion. Not everybody thinks like this. We have people, we call them Rav, other people are called Rabbi. So, like I said, we have different ideas and different opinions in Judaism. But it's very interesting the distinction that Hamim make on these two terms. Rabbi Yoel Haim continues and says the following. Now explaining the pasuk on Bereshit 32:14 that it says, "Vayikach min hava bayado min hale Esav ahiv," and Yaakov took from that which came into his hand as a gift to Esav, his brother. Remember that the parashat we have Yaakov Avinu that is returning from Haran, going back into Eretz Israel, and remember the incident that as we have been reading in the parashiot, the moment in which Yaakov had to fight with an angel. There are different explanations of who this angel was. Some people say he actually had a fight with God. Some people say he had a fight with the angel of Esav. Some people say he had a fight with some type of other creature. There are different meforshim that explain about this. And we know that there is a moment that right after this fight in which Yaakov was asking a blessing from this divine entity, after that, he had the encounter with his brother Esav. And basically, this is what we're looking at here, that Yaakov was, he says, that was afraid, so he sent gifts. He sent malachim in front of him also to go and check on Esav and give him back a report. But also, he prepared himself as someone that is going to a fight. He organized his campaign, he put like, the men in front, the women with the children at the end. He structured everything in some way that basically, if he had to fight, he would be ready. He was willing to go and offer peace to his brother. And as we know, he even went and he bowed before Esav. He was willing to do peace. But if Esav didn't want peace and wanted to attack him one more time, Yaakov Avinu, before the incident took place, he was preparing himself for any circumstance. And from this we learn that even though we might be willing to go for peace, which should be the ideal, we also should be ready for war. And Yaakov Avinu was ready. He was protecting his family. He was protecting his own kin, his own people. And this is what we see, that even between brothers, as we know, this is the whole narrative that we see in the Torah, a lot of fighting between brothers. And now you have Esav. Yaakov didn't know if Esav had changed at all, or maybe he was still wanted to kill Yaakov and his family. So he went looking for peace, but he was ready for war as well. Now, the pasuk says, let's continue. It says, and Yaakov took from that which came into his hand as a gift to Esav, his brother. Meaning he sent a gift. He's trying to appease Esav. He's trying to make peace, like I said before. We have to review what Rabbi Moshe al-Sheikh wrote about it when he says, Vayishlach Yaakov malachim lefanav el Esav ahiv. And Yaakov sent angels before him to Esav, his brother. Bereshit 32, verse 4. And when they returned, they told him, he says, Bano el ahicha el Esav. We came to your brother, to Esav. He explained that even though Esav was an evil person, yet Yaakov considered him as a brother and would surely remember the love between them. But when the angels returned, they responded in the opposite manner, meaning by placing the name of the brother before, meaning the name of Esav. This meant that even though he was his brother, he remembered no love and was still the evil person he was. And Rashi also brings a similar explanation, meaning the pasuk says, "Vanu el ahicha el Esav," meaning they put the name of Esav at the end, which means that Esav was still an evil person, a rasha, as we call it in Hebrew. Yet Yaakov was willing to let go any grudge from the past and make peace with him But when the angels came back, they told him, look, he's still a Rasha. He's still an evil person. And yet Yaakov Avinu continued and tried to, as we know from the parasha, sending gifts. He bowed 7 times to Esav. At the end, we have a very emotional moment in which they hug and Esav cry and kiss Yaakov's neck, and very, very emotional. And even though it seems that they kind of made peace, yet Yaakov Avinu did not want to just dwell with his brother, but said, "You go this way, I'll go my way." And this is something sometimes that we have to learn. To make peace sometimes doesn't mean that we have to be lovely, friendly, hugging and kissing each other, and that's the idea. No, no, no. Sometimes you make peace, but the person that is different to you, that have a different belief, that have a different conception of life, that behaves in a different way, that have a different culture, is different than you. Okay, we're brothers, we're making peace, all great. I respect you, you respect me. You go this way, I go my way. To make peace and into um, having good relations with others doesn't mean that you have to dwell with them and just be on top of each other and hugging and kissing and everything. Oh yes, and accepting everything and pleasing others. That's not making peace. You have to also uphold your rights, your beliefs, your culture, your tradition. You have to be proud of it. And yet we are making peace, but you keep your thing in the distance and I'll be on my place. So that's why there's a proverb that says, make peace with your neighbor, but don't get rid of the fence. It's good if you have neighbors and you have a good relation with them, but keep the fence. Keep the fence because that's human nature. That's how it is. You might change and be looking for good things, but you don't know what the other person might be thinking or if things change later on. Plus, again, in this world, everything is delineated, everything has its own space. You have the mineral kingdom, you have the plants, you have the animals, you have the human beings. There's a difference. And this you have also different of cultures, religions, belief, ideologies. The creator is making things different. This book is different than this jacket, for example, or is different than a human being. And the book has a definition, see a shape, structure. Yeah, I can use the book and I fusion with the book somehow. I learn, but I keep my identity, and the book is a book. And the author of the book is also different from his creation, and yet has an essence. The book has an essence of the Rabbeinu Yoel Haim, but it's different. So my point here is that Yaakov offered peace to Esav, but at the end he said, "Okay, you go this way, I go this way." His belief was not the belief of Esav. He did not want his children to mix with Esav's children either. There's different ideologies here, and there's nothing wrong with it. That's the way things work. So what's the problem? You have to be proud of who you are, your belief, your ideologies, and everybody should respect each other. That's all. That's all. We cooperate, we could be friends, you could have good relations with other people, but doesn't mean that you have to cancel yourself just to please everybody. This is not how it works. Yaakov Avinu did not cancel his own belief or ideology just to please Esav. He was willing to offer peace, but even peace has a limit because it's a threat to you, to your family. Then you have to be ready for war, like we just learned from the pasuk. Lastly, I would like to share one more of the insight. There are many things that Rabbi Yoel Haim brings here. Very interesting. The insights he's bringing. He even explains how the merit of the Bet HaMikdash corresponds to each of the patriarchs. The first Bet HaMikdash corresponds to the merit of Abraham Avinu, the second Bet HaMikdash to the merit of Yitzhak Avinu, and the third Bet HaMikdash to the merit of Yaakov Avinu. He brings different meforshim explaining how we make these connections. Really beautiful the way Rabbeinu Yoel Haim explains these. He also explains the meaning in the parashat, what he says, um, basically examining, looking at each of the animals that Yaakov sent to Esav. What is the meaning of those donkeys and camels and she-goats and the numbers? What's going on here? And he explained something very interesting. For example, he says the part that he says parot arba'im ufarim asara, 40 cows and 10 bulls, is a remes to what our rabbis of blessed memory said, that in the future Hashem will take the letter Nun, Gematria 50, of the Nahash, the serpent, and change it into Mem Yud, Gematria 40 and 10, which is 50 also. This will change the Nahash into Mihash, and the letters can be rearranged into Mashiach. And so, in this way, the power of the serpent, also known as the Sitra Achara, will be broken into and the idols will be cut down when the letter Nun gets changed to Mem Yud, which is 40 and 10. Meaning that if you look at the word Nahash, the word Nahash in Hebrew, the serpent, let's go back to the beginning, to Bereshit, the whole story from the beginning of the creation. Nahash, the letters are Nun, Het, Shin. The numerical value of the letter Nun is 50. Now, the Hamim explained that if you take the Nun, you could arrive to the same numerical value with two letters, which is Mem, Yud. Mem is 40, Yud is 10, 50. So if you replace the letter Nun in the word Nahash for these two letters, Mem, Yud, and you rearrange the letters, then you have the word Mashiach. And the thing is that the letter Nun will be broken into two letters, Mem and Yud. So too, the idols and Avodah Zarah and false ideologies and things that are wrong will be broken during the time of the rectification of the world, what we call the days of Mashiach. The Mekubalim call this the time of the Messianic times, the time of the universe of Atzilut, the world of rectification. So the power of the Nahash, the power of the Sitra Achara, the power of Satan will be broken. And so we will have the days of Mashiach, the days of rectification, tikkun, the days in which the idol worshiping will be destroyed from earth. And not only meaning that physically idol worshiping, but the idea is that all type of false ideologies, all type of idolatrous ideologies, all type of wrong understanding, all type of wrong behaviors, all type of wrong worshiping, all of that will be cast away and destroyed, meaning the human beings will be able to reach a higher level of thinking, a higher level of consciousness, a higher level of understanding, and closer connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, knowing what is true and knowing what is wrong. These are what we know as the day of Mashiach. There's deeper ideas here than just thinking that just is a man and people suddenly change into in a magical way to good behavior. No, it's that and even more than that. The days of Mashiach mean this is a time of total change in the consciousness of human beings, of all human beings, because the whole consciousness of the planet will change. And probably there's even deeper implications, because what happen is that basically we'll reach to a level, what the Mekubalim call reaching to the level of Atzilut, the world of rectification, the world of everything is fixed, the world of Tikkun. So this will be the time of Tikkun Olam. There are deeper and deeper secret insights that we're learning from Rabbeinu Yoel Haim, Alav Shalom, Zechuto Yagen Aleinu. Wishing you all very happy Shabbat Shalom. May the Almighty bless you all. Sending you blessings from Florida, United States. May the Almighty bless you. Hope to see you soon in Israel and Jerusalem. May the Almighty bless you. Shabbat Shalom.